Okay, so we've now talked about horizontal shifts and vertical shifts. So now we're ready to kind of put those together and actually look at sketching some graphs. So consider first the function x squared plus 3. So my advice as you're doing these problems, we have four basic shapes that we're going to be dealing with. So the first thing is to recognize what shape it is you're dealing with, which one of the four basic graphs. This is going to be pretty easy to recognize. This has a square in it, so it's an x squared graph. And then we look at what's being done to it. Here we have a plus 3. We recognize that plus 3 is being outside the graph. And so therefore that's going to cause the graph to move up 3 units. Once we recognize what change has been done to the graph, we can go ahead and draw our axes. Since it's up 3, I went ahead and moved 3 marks up on my graph. And now it's the U-shaped graph. We're taking our 0, 0 point, which is the bottom of the graph, and we're going to move it up 3 units. And then we just draw the graph in. So it's as simple as that. You just have to recognize the change, remember the type of graph, and then go ahead and graph it. Let's consider a second example. Here we have absolute value of x plus 2. So again, recognize the base graph is absolute value because it's an absolute value problem. And then we look at what kind of change is going on. We have a plus 2 inside. Remember, the inside changes are horizontal, and the horizontal changes are also backward. So a plus 2 is actually going to cause the graph to move to the left 2. We then go ahead and draw our axes, taking my 0, 0 point and moving it left 2. And then I draw in the V-shaped graph for absolute value. Okay? And as long as the graph is roughly okay, that's fine. As long as it has the basic shape, I'm not looking for perfect looking graphs or anything here, just that you have the basic shape. We're just doing a rough, quick sketch of the graph. Okay, so let's move on to our third example. Here we have square root of x plus 3 and then minus 2. So again, recognize the type of graph. It's square root with its little half C-shaped graph. And then we look at what changes are being done to it. We have a plus 3. The plus 3 is inside. Remember, inside is horizontal. So that means we're going to actually move to the left 3. Remember, horizontal changes are backwards. Plus is going to make you go to the left. Minus will make you go to the right. And then we have a minus 2 on the outside. Outside is a vertical change, and it's exactly what it is. So we're going to move the graph down 2 units. So we go ahead and we draw our axes. We're going to be going left 3 and down 2. And again, what that's going to do is move that 0, 0 point. So it's now at negative 3, negative 2. And then we would draw in our C-shaped graph, or however you want to think of that square root graph. Okay. In our next example, we deal with a 1 over x function. Again, we recognize the type of graph. That's usually fairly easy. And then we remember its basic shape. And then we look at what changes are being done to that 1 over x. We have a minus 1 that's inside the operation. Remember, inside is horizontal. And horizontal, again, is backward. So that's actually going to go to the right 1 unit. We then see a plus 2 on the outside. So that's going to make it go up. Outside is vertical. We can then draw in our axes. Here I've moved up 2 and over 1. Now, for the 1 over x, this one's a little different. Since 0, 0 is not actually a point on the graph, we use it a little bit differently. We actually use it to draw in those guidelines for that 1 over x graph. So through x equals 1, I'll have a vertical line. Through y equals 2, I'll have my horizontal line. You can see where they cross. That's where my old 0, 0 point was. And now it's just a matter of drawing in the graph. So it begins, it's underneath, curving from that line downwards to the line x equals 1, and then it's above, curving up and then curving down. And that's how we graph the 1 over x function. Okay, in the next video we're going to talk about the final thing that we'll be doing with graphs, which is called a reflection.